What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back at again with another video. So, I actually wanted to talk about what matches had the best build for WrestleMania 41 this year. WrestleMania is literally 1 week away. I'm filming this on Saturday, so next Saturday, night one of WrestleMania 41 will be upon us, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things will play out. But the builds for these matches for a lot of people have been kind of up and kind of down. Now, last year, in my opinion, I think the main event involving Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and The Rock and Seth Rollins for night 1 and 2, that pretty much was the thing that everybody was looking forward to seeing how it was going to play out. That was the best build for WrestleMania 40 last year, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinion felt like that was something that was really entertaining, had the weekly shows, it brought some hype to the weekly shows. But for this year, I think a lot of people may have initially was hoping that it would have been John Cena and Cody, and for some of them, that may be the best build for WrestleMania this season, but for me, personally, I'm going to kind of give a list too. I'm not just going to list what's my favorite build so far, but I'm going to start with, in my opinion, the best build for WrestleMania 41 this year. And you would think it would be John Cena and Cody Rhodes, but for me personally, it's been the triple threat match between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. To me, this has been the most complete build, storyline-wise, and it's been, I guess you can say, cooking up since War Games. And if you want to really kind of go down, memory lane, this has kind of been, I guess, an unintentional story in the making for a very long time. But they've really started building up towards this since War Games, with CM Punk aligning himself with Roman Reigns and then getting that favor to help Roman Reigns overcome the new bloodline, and how that favor is now transformed to what we have now. All these guys have stories intertwined with each other that make sense. They all have history, and now it's going to culminate at night 1 for WrestleMania this year. And now with Paul Heyman being in CM Punk's corner now, that we know what the favor was and how that's going to affect Roman's mental, and how, CM Punk is going to, kind of try to use that to his advantage, all while Seth Rollins himself, in my opinion, is being the master manipulator and playing both sides of Roman and CM Punk here. And now supposedly he's supposed to have some type of favor because he spared Paul Heyman this past week on Monday Night Raw. I like this. And we still gonna have, the last Monday Night Raw before Mania this upcoming Monday, and the last SmackDown before Mania, and they've already said Roman Reigns is gonna be on Monday Night Raw. So his story is gonna probably heat up even more than it already has. And to me, this has been the most complete build with all three of these guys. Everybody loves what all three of these guys are doing. They all make great points against each other. This has just been entertaining. It has, in my personal opinion, and I think I'm going to rank this as the best build for WrestleMania this year, in my humble opinion. So, for me, this is the top of the list. Now, for the second best build of WrestleMania 41, I'm going to go, and I had to really think about this before making this video, but I'm going to go with John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Now, like I said earlier, you would have thought the way the Elimination Chamber ended and John Cena turning on the fans and going heel and attacking Cody in a brutal fashion and aligning himself with The Rock and Travis Scott, you would have thought that this would probably be the best build for WrestleMania. And I was thinking that too, but the only problem that really plagues this particular situation with Cody and John Cena, and it's not because of Cody and John Cena's back and forth when they have had their chance to go back and forth and, say things to each other. I think, for me, the issue is The Rock and him not really being involved in this story. That's been kind of my problem here, because essentially, if you remove The Rock, which they pretty much have, John Cena just could have turned heel on his own without The Rock being there, without quote unquote selling his soul. Cody even tried to mention it in their last face-to-face, and we didn't really get no answer. The only thing John Cena has really said is he's turned on the fans because he feels like the fans have mistreated him for way too long, and he doesn't like the fact that mediocrity is now the top guy in the company. So he is basically here to take that all away. All right, you could have just had him do that on his own. But you added The Rock into this whole story of trying to get Cody's soul, and we know Cody was going to say no, and then have John Cena turn. Because it seems as if this was going to be the plan of John Cena versus Cody. Now, they're both baby faces. It wasn't going to be as impactful if they are both going at it as baby faces. Somebody had to go heel. And they weren't going to do Cody yet. So John Cena would have been the biggest surprise. And it was. It was the talk of the town in the wrestling world. Everyone was talking about it. It was on every talk show, morning talk show, ESPN. Places that don't cover it was talking about John Cena being a bad guy. So this was huge, right? And it lost a lot of steam. Obviously, because of John Cena's, obligations to, whatever he's filming. So he wasn't initially there right afterwards. And then they did the European shows, and he was there for 3 weeks, which was cool. But a lot of it was just spoon-fed reasons of why. It didn't really start ramping up into their last interaction, which I thought was very good, the back and forth verbally. But without The Rock being there and really being the catalyst to make this story feel like, all right, Cody is up against some really dangerous odds here. Because right now, if you want me to be honest, Cody doesn't look like he's in a situation of great peril. Last year, it did because there was a lot on the line. This year, no, it don't. It doesn't feel like Cody's in a situation of concern. Now, having The Rock be there or having it be acknowledged that The Rock has his back, and maybe we get that on John Cena's last appearance, and maybe we get that, happening at WrestleMania, cool. But the build towards that, I don't see that. It seems as if Cody's just as confident as he was last year, even though he was fighting an uphill battle. It don't seem like that. So I think, even though it's been entertaining and I'm still interested to see how this is going to all play out, I drop it down to number 2 on my list because I think there's some logic gaps here, and I think it would have been number 1 as the best build for me this year if The Rock was actually truly more involved in this story, because he is the biggest part of this story. Whether people want to admit it or not, he supposedly is the reason why John Cena sold his soul. So I don't know if they answer those questions on the Go Home show. We'll see. But right now, it has the makings of a solid feud. But outside of the few appearances we've seen from John Cena and no appearances or real mentions of The Rock, it's not really hitting like that as I was wanting it to. Next, for me, my third favorite build of this WrestleMania season, and they've done a good job to make me care. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. I got to put that in there because at first I've seen a lot of people, they weren't really too interested in seeing this. Granted, I was, because the story made sense. This has been building since last year's WrestleMania. Every time Drew was that close to the championship, that close to finishing his story, he would get distracted with CM Punk, and Damian Priest was the benefactor because of it every single time. Their stories have been intertwined. So this made sense for it to happen. So I was like, okay, I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. And Drew, being the great individual that he is when it comes to these stories, he does what he does best. He was able to get people to care about this. And we got to give credit to Damian Priest for being able to be a good, I guess, threat to Drew McIntyre or someone that opposes Drew McIntyre in an intense way, because their back and forth attacking each other has been entertaining, and what they did last night really solidified why this is my third favorite feud, third favorite feud and storyline leading into WrestleMania, because now Drew has went down that path of taking people's items, and he took Damian Priest's chain from his neck. He took it now. So now Damian Priest is going to do whatever he can to get it back. It's something about Drew taking people's personal items. He hasn't learned this lesson. They're both going to crash out. This is so good, and it's going to be a street fight match, as it should. I can't wait. This is a match I am really looking forward to. And it's not as high on the card, but it feels important because their history with each other, and now Drew knows how to make a feud that much violent and intense. I love it. So that's my third favorite feud right now. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to play out. So the next one for me, I'm going to go with Gunther and Jey Uso as a build that I've actually, the fourth best build so far in WrestleMania, in my opinion. And it's a build that I actually have gotten to enjoy a lot more these past few weeks. And it really started with the whole idea of Jey, not being confident in himself, Jimmy inserting himself to help build up Jey's confidence, the slap heard around the world from Jimmy to Gunther, and then the package, the beat up, the destruction of Jimmy Uso live on Monday Night Raw as Gunther is covered in his blood while Jey couldn't do nothing. That is what sold it for me. Right there. And then with Jey coming back, being more serious, and I was hoping for a little bit more, but I can appreciate some of the things he did say in that promo, and I'm interested because he's serious, he's locked in. I'm interested because it was low on the totem pole, but this is, in my opinion, my fourth favorite feud storyline that they've built up for WrestleMania this year. I love it. I love what they're doing with that, and they're really selling home the idea that Jey is going to do the unthinkable. He's going to lock in. He's going to catch Gunther slipping, and Jey will most likely win at this year's WrestleMania. But they've done a good job these past 3 weeks of making you care, because before it was kind of just in this middle spot. Now it makes sense. People are more invested in it. I am personally, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to do the go-home show for Monday Night Raw. I'm hoping we get a little bit of a crash out from Jey, because I think that will really sell home the idea that he's done playing with him. He's whooping his ass at WrestleMania. So I like what they did there. That's my fourth favorite build. And I'm going to do just, my top 5. And for the last one, this may be surprising to some individuals here, but this is my opinion on it. I'm going to go with Naomi versus Jade at WrestleMania. I've enjoyed this build, even though it hasn't gotten a lot of attention. Now, some people would say, oh, what about Charlotte and Tiffany? Charlotte and Tiffany really picked up because of them kind of just going off script. I want to say that was last week. That's why it really picked up, to be honest with you. That made people care about it, and I do care about it more. But the build itself has not really been that entertaining for the most part. Outside of the brawl they had initially, it's been kind of lukewarm. And then with the Io versus Rhea versus Bianca, it had elements of being something like, really entertaining, like build-wise. But once they kind of forced the whole... To me, I didn't like what they did with Rhea's character, basically making her look like a whiny individual. Like, oh, no, I lost the match, and now I want to get my rematch, and I deserve my rematch. I need my rematch. I mean, we get it. this was going to happen from the jump because she's popular. She's very, very over. So it made sense for her to be in the match. I think they could have went about it differently because having Bianca be the special guest referee, that made no sense. We knew how it was going to go. It was kind of a non-point. So I would have wished they would have went about it differently. Plus, they've been making Io look like an afterthought, which I do think is part of their story, and hopefully Io can be the one to retain for them not taking her seriously, and I think that would be pretty cool if they do something like that. But it's just been kind of convoluted. I do think it's going to be a good match, but build-wise, it's been kind of all over the place. We knew the destination. It's just how they got to the destination was kind of it was a little iffy. But why I say Jade and Naomi has been my 5th favorite build for WrestleMania so far is it's pretty simple. Naomi turning heel, us finding out that Naomi was the one to have actually been the one to attack Jade, and they've been building up this whodunit for so long, and her teaming up with Bianca to replace Jade, and her heel turn, proceed with caution with what she's been doing with them vignettes, have been perfect, bro. This has been the most interested I've been in for Naomi's character, I think, ever in WWE. Like, I'm actually interested in her heel turn. I love what she's been doing. The vignettes, she's been knocking them out the park. Not a lot of people are talking about this feud. She's, in my opinion, I think she's really carrying it as this new persona, and it works, bro. It works. She's killing it. I love what Naomi's doing, and it's a good way to get, Jade, over in a sense of the babyface coming back to right the wrongs that Naomi did, and can probably give her momentum to go potentially in the world title scene. We'll see how that plays out. But I love what Jade's been doing. I love her intensity and wanting to get her hands on Naomi and finish her off, and get her revenge. Hell, what she did at Elimination Chamber, that was beautifully done. I mean, she beat the living crap out of Naomi. So this is some good stuff, bro. This is some good stuff. The feud, the storytelling that they've been telling so far has been good. And it's caused a fracture between Naomi and Bianca and Jade. This is why I say I enjoy this. And the stories that they can tell after this can be actually pretty compelling as well. Naomi being a heel has been the best thing they've done for her career since she's came back to WWE, in my opinion, and she's even more entertaining now as a heel than I felt like she was as a babyface. I love it. Y'all may disagree with me, but to me, out of all the ladies that are fighting at WrestleMania, I'm really more interested in this match because I want to see what they do here. And the story has actually been pretty solid since they've been building it up for quite some time. So I just wanted to do my top 5 matches, top 5 builds that I felt like, they took time and they took energy and preparation to try to make these storylines, that culminate at WrestleMania this year, feel like they deserve to be on WrestleMania and make sense. So, hey, comment down below, let me know what are y'all favorite or y'all top 5 WrestleMania builds for this year. Let me know. There's no wrong answer. Give me your reasons why these are your top 5 builds for WrestleMania this year. And, we can have that discussion down below. But I appreciate all love, support. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking with me. See you on the next one. Peace.